Elocution, vocal culture and gesture, how to read and speak correctly. Elocution does not consist, as many suppose, in merely learning to recite pieces. It is the art of reading and speaking in the most correct and elegant manner. Before this can be attained, it is necessary to articulate distinctly, to pronounce correctly, and to cultivate and strengthen the vocal organs. The study of elocution is one in which none can be pronounced perfect. As in penmanship, a proficient may greatly improve by practice, and thousands are content to possess a handwriting next to illegible, instead of the neat, elegant hand of which they could easily become master. So thousands are satisfied with a harsh, disagreeable voice, a careless articulation, a monotonous expression, and a repulsive manner, when by proper training they might become fluent conversationalists, expressive readers, and easy, if not eloquent, speakers. How many are content to work with one talent when they could readily possess 5? Among well-educated persons of taste and refinement, how often do we find those to whom a knowledge of elocution would be invaluable, because of its power to set forth their other accomplishments? The first tones of a speaker's voice always convey an idea, favourable or unfavourable, of the speaker himself, and if the latter, much effort will be required of him to regain the estimation so unwittingly lost. What can be more satisfactory to its possessor than a rich, clear, melodious tone, a distinct, clean-cut articulation, a perfect command of the modulations, and a pleasing style both in voice and manner? All this is possible to anyone who does not possess imperfect vocal organs, and who will assiduously devote himself or herself to the study, believing it to be worthy of all efforts required to obtain a mastery of the art. Elocution consists in the utterance of expression of thought. The thought may be conveyed by voice or gesture, the latter reaching the hearer through the eye, the former through the ear. Elocution may be divided into 4 branches. Visualize: vocal culture, articulation, expression or modulation, and gesture. Vocal culture. Voice is produced by breath passing over the vocal cords, which are situated in the larynx or upper portion of the windpipe. The voice is the principal agent by which thought is conveyed, and is the basis of elocution. Proper breathing, consistent in taking in and giving out full inspirations of pure air in such a manner as not to interfere with speech. Correct breathing is an important factor in elocution, of more consequence than might be supposed. It should be so timed as not to interfere with speech. Breath should be taken only at pauses. Study at first never to destroy the connection of the thought by a pause for breathing purposes. In long sentences, we should economize the breath as much as possible. The culture of the voice should be a matter of necessity, as well as the training of the mind or the development of the body. Frequent vigorous practice induces healthy activity. The voice is strengthened and rendered pure and resonant. Articulation. Articulation consists of a distinct and correct utterance of the elementary sounds. These sounds, 46 in number, are formed by the organs of speech and are divided into vocal sounds, aspirate sounds, and combined sounds. The organs of articulation are the tongue, lips, palate, and teeth, forming the lingual, labial, palatal, and dental sounds, respectively. These organs, like valves, act either singly or together upon the stream of breath issuing from the larynx, and mold sound into speech. The mouth cavity and nasal cavity consists in modifying the tones of voice, giving it character and resonance. Vocal sounds are those having vocality. Aspirate sounds are those produced by the breath only. Combined sounds are those which are produced Sorry, let me read that again. Combined sounds are those which are produced by both voice and breath. Cognates are those sounds which occur in pairs and vocalized, and the other not, but both having the same articulate modification. The trilled R often adds much to the rendering of a passage, but, like the flourish, it may be misplaced. It should be used sparingly, seldom or never in the most serious discourse. In light descriptions and imitative modulations, it may be employed, taking care, however, that it is never used unless immediately followed by a vowel sound. Practice in articulation should be directed especially to those exercises in which transitions or repetitions of the sound occur, as those will be quite difficult of mastery. So that both sounds are correctly and distinctly given, and that the organs of speech pass rapidly from one to another. Examples: S false sounds, sh hush Charlotte, z as zealous, st severest storms. Pronunciation. The subject of pronunciation should receive special attention by the learner, as a good voice and a distinct articulation tend to magnify any defect in utterance. In reading, foreign words are often found which are utterly unpronounceable to one not having at least an elementary knowledge of the language to which they belong. To pronounce such words according to English rules would in many cases be allowable, but this could not apply to Goth and similar names. Clearly, the only correct way is to approach as nearly as possible to the native pronunciation, except in words and names thoroughly anglicized. To pronounce Paris would be pedantry. Modulation. Modulation consists in such a use of the voice as will convey the thought in the best manner. It has reference to the quality, melody, form, force, time, and stress. Modulation concerns the proper management of the voice in speech and treats of those changes that should be made in it to best express the sentiment. Quality of the voice. The quality or kind of voice may be pure or impure in ordinary conversation. Reading or speaking, we should always use the pure, but in expressing fear, anger, contempt, hatred, loathing, etc., we should employ a different quality of tone. When we feel the influence of these passions, we can easily make use of the proper form, but we should not control the voice, that in reading or speaking in the absence of passion, we can assume the tone best adopted to give expression to the sentiment. The pure quality is used in all cases when there is not a demand for the impure. Great attention should be given to the cultivation of the conversational voice until a habit of corrected speech is acquired. This tone should always be full, rich, and resonant. Of it there are two varieties, the simple and altund. The simple pure is used in ordinary conversation, reading and speaking. Example: and he said, a certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of the goods that halleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. The altund is a full round tone used to express grandeur or sublimity, courage, reverence, veneration, and other holy emotions. Example: thou too sail on, O ship of state. Sail on, O Union, strong and great. The impure quality of voice is used to express the action of the baser passions. It is also used in mimicry. The impure qualities are the aspirate, pectoral, guttural, and falsetto. The aspirate is the intense whisper with little or no vocality. It is used to denote fear, secrecy, great caution, etc. Example: soldiers, you are now within a few steps of the enemy's outposts. The pectoral is the deep tone of despair and anger. It is used to denote great solemnity, and in describing the supernatural. It is altund, very low in pitch, and is formed wholly in the throat. Oh, I have passed a miserable night, so full of dreadful dreams and ugly sights, that, as I am Christian faithful man, I would not spend another such a night, though 'twere to buy a world of happy days, so full of dismal terror was the time. The guttural is a harsh throat tone, lacking the ortant quality of the pectoral, the language of hatred, intense anger, loathing, and contempt. Example: I loathe ye in my bosom, I scorn ye within mine eye, and I will taunt ye with my latest breath, and fight ye till I die. The falsetto is a shrill, high-pitched tone used in expressing pain or terror. It is also employed in imitating the female voice. Example: when the lorn damsel with a frantic screech, and cheeks as hueless as a brandy peach, cries, "Help, kind heaven," and drops upon her knees on the green baize beneath the canvas trees. Melody. Melody in elocution is the effect produced upon the ear by the succession of vocal notes. It has reference to pitch, slides, and cadence. Pitch relates to the elevation or depression of the tone. It may be natural, low, or high. Natural pitch is used in all or ordinary discourse. Example: England's sun was slowly setting over the hills so far away, filling all the land with beauty at the close of one sad day. Low pitch. It is used in language serious, grave, sublime, grand, solemn, reverential, and vehement. Example: silence, how dead, and darkness, how profound. No eye nor listening ear an object finds. Creation sleeps. High pitch is used to express sentiment lively, joyous, or impassioned. It is also characteristic of fear and grief. Example: "Oh, spare my child, my joy, my pride. Oh, give me back my child," she cried. Slides. Slides are inflections of the voice used to prevent monotony and to give better expression of the idea. They are ascending and descending. Both are united in the circumflex. In music, an ascent and descent is made by distinct steps. But in speech, the voice is bent more or less upward or downward. These changes are continually taking place, except in the monotone, and they give expression to the voice. Ascending slides denote uncertainty, doubt, interrogation, and incompleteness of the idea. Example: hast thou ever known the feeling I have felt when I have seen mild tomes of aged heroes, memories of what hath been? Descending slides indicate positiveness, determination, or the completion of the thought. Example: come on, come all, this rock shall fly from the firm base as soon as I. The circumflex is used to denote surprise or to express a secondary meaning which may be in harmony with or directly opposite to that conveyed by the words. Example: what, shear a wolf, a prowling wolf? Cadence. Cadence is the tone with which a sentence terminates. According to the sentiment, it may have the ascending or the descending slide, the rising of all the falling circumflex, or it may vanish with no slide whatsoever. A sentence expressing a complete thought, having no modifying phrase or clause, and not affected by anything preceding or following it, should always terminate with a downward inflection, but when so modified it should close with a tone adapted to the connection or meaning. The reader should study variety and avoid uniformity in closing sentences. Form of voice may be natural, effusive, expulsive, or explosive. The natural is that ordinarily used in conversation. Example, while a single white cloud to its heaven of rest on the white wing of peace floated off in the west. The effusive is a very light, gentle form, usually characterized by a swell. It is used in expressing that which is beautiful, tranquil, or pathetic. It is characteristic of lofty sentiment not requiring vigorous expression. Example, how beautiful she is, how fair. She lies within those arms that press her from with many a soft caress of tenderness and watchful care. The expulsive is a forcible utterance expressive of determination and intensity of feeling. Example, up, all and shout for Rudiger, defiance unto death. The explosive is used in vehement language and in powerful description. It usually manifests itself in the bursting of the voice on a single word. Example, halt! The dust-brown rank stood fast. Fire! Out blazed the rifle blast. Force or power of the voice is the kind natural, heavy, and gentle. Natural voice is that most commonly used in speaking or reading. Example, we are two travellers, Roger and I. Roger's my dog. Come, here you scamp. Jump for the gentleman, mind your eye. Over the table, look out for the lamp. Heavy force is used in the grand description and in conveying any idea of power. Example, bell never yet was hung, between whose lips there swung so grand a tongue. Gentle force is used in tender and pathetic description, and in all cases where a subdued form is necessary to correctly express the sentiment. Example, noiselessly as the daylight comes, when the night is done, and the crimson streak on ocean's cheek grows into the great sun. Time. Time in elocution has reference to quantity, rate, and pause. Quantity. Quantity is the amount of time given to a word. It may be natural, long, or short. Natural quantity is that usually given to words in unemotional language. Example, natural quality is that usually given to words in unemotional language. Example, there is one accomplishment in particular which I would earnestly recommend to you. Cultivate assiduously the ability to read well. Long quality is used in expressing that which is grand, sublime, gloomy, or humble. Example, O thou eternal one, whose presence bright all space doth occupy, all motion guide. Short quantity is used to express sentiment. Light, joyous, gay, and brisk. It also expresses haste, fear, command, indignation, etc. Example, the year is going, let him go. Ring out the false, ring out the true. Rate. Rate is a degree of rapidity or slowness with which several successive words are uttered. It may be natural, slow, or fast. Natural rate is that which a person naturally uses in reading or speaking. Example, a good painter, tell me true. Has your hand the cunning to draw shapes of things that you never saw? Slow rate may denote horror and awe. It should be used in language serious, sublime, and pathetic. Example, meanwhile, the shapeless iron mass came moving o'er the wave, as gloomy as a passing hearse, as silent as the grave. Fast rate is used to express sentiment, lively, joyous, impassioned, and vehement. Example, hurrah, the foes are moving, hark to the mingled din of fife and steed, and trump the drum and roaring culverin. Pause. A pause is the suspension of voice. Poetic and oratorical pauses express emotion. Rhetorical pauses are those demanded by the sense and structure of a sentence. Grammatical pauses are those indicated by the usual marks of punctuation and prosodical pauses are those used only in verse, but in the connection it is best to make these divisions visualized. Natural pause, long pause, and short pause. Natural pause is used in unimpassioned language and ordinary description. Example: have you heard the tale of the aloe plant? Away in the sunny clime, by humble growth of 100 years, it reaches its blooming time. Long pause usually accompanies slow rate or a change of sentiment and marks a suspension of the sense. Example: pause a moment. I heard a footstep. Listen now. I heard it again. But it is going from us. It sounds fainter, still fainter. It is gone. Short pause accompanies fast rate and is characteristic of haste, fear, etc. Example: John, be quick. Get some water. Throw the powder overboard. It cannot be reached. Jump into the boat and shove off. There goes the powder. Thank heaven we are safe. Stress. Stress has much to do with the power, beauty, and general effect of a sentence. It is that finishing, polishing touch which causes the thought to stand out in relief, throwing it vividly upon the background with its profile. Let me read that again. Stress has much to do with the power, beauty, and general effect of a sentence. It is that which finishing, polishing touch which causes the thought to stand out in relief, throwing it vividly upon the background with its profile well defined, its lights and shadows harmoniously blended, rendering it complete, beautiful, and symmetrical. There are 6 distinct kinds of stress. Visualize: initial, final, median, compound, thorough, and tremulous. Initial stress is an explosive force on the first part of the syllable or word. It is characteristic of lively, joyous description. Example: I come from haunts of coot and hern. I make a sudden sally and sparkle out among the fern to bicker over a valley. The final stress is an explosive force on the latter part of a syllable or word. It is used in expressing defiance, determination, or intensity of feeling or purpose. Example: a breath of submission. We breathe not. The swords we have drawn, we will sheathe not. Median stress, or the swell characteristic of the orotund, quality and effusive form, is most marked in the sublime, but it is found in all classes of literature, sometimes occurring on a single word and again continually through an entire sentence. Example: roll on thou deep and dark blue ocean roll. Compound stress is a union of the initial and final in one word. It is indicative of surprise, irony, and determination. Gone to be married. Gone to swear peace. Shall Lewis have Blanche, and Blanche these provinces? Thorough stress is an abrupt, heavy force used in command, fearlessness, and braggadocio. Example: blaze with your serious columns, I will not bend the knee. The shackles near again shall bind the arm which now is free. Tremulous or intermittent stress is used in fear, joy, and laughter, in the broken voice of narrow, and in initiation of the feeble voice of age. Example: ho, why dost thou shiver and shake, Gaffrey grey, and why does thou nose look so blue? 'Tis the weather is cold, 'tis I've grown very old, and my doublet is not very new, well a day. Emphasis. Emphasis, it has been said, is in speech what colouring is in painting. It admits of all possible degrees, and must, to indicate a particular degree of distinction, be more or less intense according to the groundwork of current melody of the discourse. It consists of any peculiarity of utterance which shall call special attention to a particular word or words in a sentence. Thus, it will be seen that emphasis may be a force, stress, quality, pitch, or rate. No definite rule can be given for the use of emphasis. It is so supple, its shading so delicate, that it can never be cabled to inflexible rules. But in general, we should emphasize words, phrases, or clauses that are particularly significant, words, phrases, or clauses that contrast. Anything repeated for the sake of emphasis, a succession of objects or ideas. Word individuality. The royal road to success in reading lies in the true conception of the spirit, of the peace and faithful delineation of the author's meaning. Endeavour to grasp the ideas, make them a part of yourself, and clothe your hearers with them. Another element of power lies in playing upon words and giving them their full individual expression. For instance, the word firm should usually be spoken in a firm tone of voice, strong in a strong tone, light in a light tone, grand, grand in a manner conveying an idea of grandeur. Word individuality, expressive intonation, imitative modulation, and sound to sense are the terms used to express the act of playing upon words, sounding the syllables or intoning the vowels in such a way as to more fully bring out the meaning of the word by its sound. Old, sweet, long, gay, cold, deep, raw, whisper, fierce, wild, growl, titter, gush, burst, dash. These and similar words may be rendered infinitely more expressive by giving each word its own peculiar individual character. The following table of derivatives indicates the particular characteristics of words. St denotes firmness or strength, as stand, stay, stout, stop, stamp, etc. Stir, str, indicates violent force or energy, as strive, stress, strength, strife, etc. Thr indicates forcible motion, as throw, throb, thrust, threaten, thrill, etc. Gl indicates smoothness or silent motion, as glib, glide, glow, etc. Wr denotes obliquity or distortion, as wry, rest, wrestle, ring, wrath, wrangle, etc. Sw implies silent agitation or lateral motion, as sway, sweep, swerve, swing, etc. Sl denotes gentle fall or less observable motion, as slide, slip, slit, slack, sling, etc. Sp indicates dissipation or expansion, as spread, sprout, sprinkle, split, spoil, spring, etc. Ash indicates something acting nimbly or sharply, as crash, dash, rash, flash, lash, splash, etc. Ush denotes something acting more obtusely and dully, as crush, brush, hush, gush, blush, etc. Analyzing and grouping. In reading, it is necessary first to analyze the thought, to decide in the mind what portions are most prominent, and these should receive greatest emphasis. The subordinate thoughts should be properly grouped together and expressed in such a manner as will clearly show them to be subordinate. To use a figure of speech, let me more important parts stand in the foreground, giving them intensest light. The auxiliary thoughts may repose in the shadows of the background. In general, the subject, predicate, object, and connective of a sentence should receive emphatic force. Give the same degree of force to words having a close grammatic connection, but separated from each other in the sentence. The intervening portion should be read parenthetically. Transition. Transition is the art of changing easily, rapidly, and completely from one modulation or form of voice to another. It should be carefully practiced. Climax. It has been previously stated that a succession of objects or ideas should receive emphasis. That is, each of the series should be made more emphatic than the one immediately preceding. This gives a constantly increasing emphatic scale. The extreme point of the scale is called the climax. There, the vocal efforts should reach their culmination, giving great strength to the sentence. Repose. Repose is the sublime emblem of infinite power. It is reserve force that is immeasurable. He who, by violent exertion, shows that he has reached his limit, loses that greater conception that we may have found regarding his powers. Where climax is employed in speech, in order to convey the greatest possible idea of power, it is necessary to make the concluding portion of the sentence with that repose which indicates unlimited reserve strength. It has been well said, the highest power is mastery, and the highest mastery is self-mastery, and of self-mastery repose is the emblem. Impersonation. In impersonation, the reader or speaker puts himself in the place of another, using the tone and style required by the assumed character. This, however, should not be resorted to when the beauty or sublimity of thought contained in a passage would be weakened thereby, as an assumed form always detracts from the ideas by directing our attention to the manner. But there are many times when personation really adds to the beauty and effectiveness of the rendering. The judgment of the reader must decide when it should be employed and in what particular cases it may be omitted. When impersonating, the voice may be changed as well as the general manner. A heavy or light voice, fast or slow rate, low or high pitch will often be a sufficient change. Old age requires a feeble or cracked voice, higher pitch, slower rate, gentler force, a greater use in the inflections, and an apparent toothlessness easily secured by retracting the lower jaw and drawing the underlip as far as possible over the teeth. Children's voices are limited by light, force, many rising and falling slides using great expression. Let the throat be contracted, and the voice may appear to be formed in the front parts of the mouth. In imitating the voices of women, the reader should employ greater or heavier forces as required. Dialogue reading. In dialogue reading, several impersonated voices may occur, varying one from another by changes of force, pitch rate, or quality. As a general rule, the direction of the eyes and head should change with each transition of character. When only two speakers are represented, the whole body may change position, but when several appear, a slight change only is required. In representing two characters, the gaze is altered left and right, but the prescriptive portions, those not spoken by either of the characters, should always be given front. Let changes of position and voice be sudden and decided, especially so when one speaker is interrupted by another. This concludes the chapter on oculation in The Universal Educator, a compendium of useful information from 1897. Thank you for listening.